Notice that this one, if you want to go ahead and do your guideline, it's right down the middle and right down the middle. Made it a little bit easier. So this one goes right through the middle, vertically, and right through the middle, horizontally. Like I said, right now we're just sketching. I'm just getting you through the first and second one so we could get rolling to those 30-second, 1 minute, 2 minute drawings. And we're going to go ahead and draw our first quadrant. So with this as a guide, I can see that I could begin probably the placement where you begin. It's up to you. It's how you see it. So how far in and how I see the relationship between this red shape that begins to appear here. And some of you may identify some of these elements already. You have to trick your brain to stay focused on the actual line, curve, and shape. So it maintains, because it's about maintaining that state of mind in observation. So I think I did a pretty good job there. It looks very close. We're going to move over to this side. And I'm guessing we just continue it here. There's a little bit of an uptick here. And it's a little straighter. Pacing yourself. Allowing yourself to look at the line. And really interpret exactly what you see. Don't add pressure trying to add likeness. Just transfer the line exactly as you see it. This is easy to recognize, but notice how easy I made it on one side. Here, you can tell that it goes from right here, this little simple red shape that runs right into the line. And here, where we have, again, it begins to get tricky because notice that when you identify what you're drawing, all of a sudden you lose sense of that vase space exercise that we're trying to do here. Here is where I'm sure you see legs. It's hard not to identify the shape. But I really want you to focus extra hard on trying to just switch your brain back over to seeing the red shape instead, meaning the space around it. There we go. And I think the fourth one here you're going to find very easy. Just a little red shape there. And look how easy it is to draw a foot. And there we have it. So there it is. And again, we easily recognize it's a simplified drawing of a figure leaning against something with one arm raised. And we could easily identify that it's probably the left arm. And there we have it. It's there. Was it the... No, it's actually the right one. Is it? Yeah, it is the left. There we go. So in order for us to finish this, it would actually become somewhat easy to just connect some of these lines. And identify now some of the features here. Make any corrections. Kind of in the same way. By just looking at absolute simplified shapes. And notice that the leg almost lined up perfectly with that vertical line. There's a little curvature there. And there we have it. Blind contour. Okay, so here we go, 5 minutes. And I'm going to really go slow this time. And I'm actually going to talk a little bit less too. Let you guys focus. Because a lot of the information It seems obvious. But how we sink that into our hand, as I'm sure you all know, one of the most incredible instruments in the universe, the human hand, and what it is capable of doing. If you allow it, getting that sense of sinking perfectly, exactly what you see, and you're seeing it to the point where you literally feel like you're drawing with your eyes. Now I know I'm asking, it's an urge and it's really hard, wanting to look. Fight the urge. Do not look. And now notice that I'm following. Well, I can't ask you to look at me. If you're following yours. Stay with one line and just follow it. Follow it. And what I'm trying to do is go, as I went around the hand, now I had to come across through an object that he's sitting on into the leg. So just do that. And then I'm reaching. I make a decision. Do I follow that leg or do I go into that negative space? So you, again, however you are seeing it, you're making those decisions. It's going to be very important to get a little more clear on how it is you make some of these crucial decisions in your drawing. Pay attention to your pace and remind yourself to go slower. Even if you think you're going super slow, you could always go way slower. So everybody, go even slower. We got 2 minutes, 20 seconds still to go, so that's plenty. And I just realized I'm not even blinking. I'm so fixed on these lines. And it's okay to blink. Just do not lose your spot. And trust what you see. Another way to think about this is, imagine your hand and your finger, and your charcoal is actually touching the edge of this figure. You can actually feel the volume, and just every time you run into a segment or an area where you can decipher, your eyes obviously do that. But sometimes imagine your hand, your finger, actually touching that edge. And a combination of both. Remember, you should be looking at the space. We're forgetting completely. If you're doing this right, you absolutely forgot you were drawing a figure. You're literally just focused on lines, angles, shapes. All right, so a little bit better this time. Place my And remember, this is just once again, an exercise to get our hand ready. So this was a little bit tougher. Labeling it as a 5-minute blind drawing. I just put a B in a circle to remind me. And this is, again, one last chance to do 100% blind drawing. Interesting where to start here. You kind of begin to identify what kind of thoughts you're having as well. Managing, sometimes realizing how you're managing your breath, to then realize if you're holding it or if you're breathing a little too anxious, to just remember your pace. And in a way, you're kind of, as we look at the reference, it should feel like you're tracing the edge of the positive, negative. Just that silhouette, how it comes together, subject and space. I'm going to even try to go slower this time. I was aware of the clock on the last one. So all these little things, I'm going to go way slower, see what happens. Syncing your hand and eye. We obviously lose much of the sense of proportion. I have to think somewhat of a unit of measure to get a sense of what the line feels like, mostly in terms of length. So you begin to realize all these things on your own, really. Hopefully. The proof is there at the end. With your drawing, as I mentioned, it will show you if you are going too slow. There is no too slow. Too fast. If you skipped over any areas in terms of developing the shape. And the key, again, how you see. Maintaining discipline in terms of pace, in terms of keeping your eye really exploring, and feeling how your eye and your hand begin to sync together. And the truth is, the more you practice this, and again, we're going blind drawing, blind contour drawing, 5 minute with a figure. It doesn't get any harder than this. This is it. So you could do this with still life, with fruit, with the chair, some geometric. Let me find my space over here. Again, I'm going a little too fast today, so I'm getting a feeling of I am a little rushed. But overall, I'm getting a full sense of the line. And still, what I said before, if we finished and you still had time left, going way too fast.